Hey, welcome back, guys. All right, so Ophiuchus, let's go ahead and take a look, and we're just going to ask who is it that either wants to communicate with Ophiuchus or is attempting to or thinking about. We have a Knight of Pentacles, so could be an Earth sign, a Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus, somebody who's been thinking about this for a long time, real slow moving. Cancerian energy as well, that this could be how they look at Ophiuchus as this gorgeous Cleopatra, somebody who's like this shining diamond in their night sky. This could be their thinking. I mean, they could be in different places. By the way, Ophiuchus could have, a background in Egypt, a cultural difference. They could be. I'm just looking at this, and it feels very like Old English to me. So, like maybe they're British, maybe Ophiuchus hails from an Egyptian culture, even if they do live in the same regions or something, or somebody could be, they met each other when they lived in the same area. Right now there's distance, but also feels like they feel as if Ophiuchus has like gone into crab mode. We have Libra energy and we have Virgo energy. Okay, hang on. We got way too many like huge star sign energy coming up, right? Cancer, Libra, and Virgo. Either this is talking about like very specific memories that they have at specific times. They've thought about, God, I'd love to go talk to, Ophiuchus back during Cancer season. Now it's kind of like here we are in Virgo season, but maybe I can plan on going to talk to them during Libra season. They could be somebody who is a master procrastinator. This could denote the different times, for each season. This could also be somebody who's heavy into things like astrology. Three of Wands and the Chariot. Again, strong Cancerian energy. If this is somebody who perpetually moves the goalpost, and I think that might be it, especially with all the different like seasons that we're talking about and all the different prominent star signs. Now, it could also be that this person contemplates their horoscope before they do anything. Like, okay, this is why I always say, I'm a fictional storyteller. I'm not a psychic. And personally, I think that we're so much more than just, our natal birth chart. There's so much to me that has to do with our environment and who we choose to be and our free will. And, then there's also the concept of like precession and the fact that, we're not really even the zodiac signs that we think we are because of the movement of the universe. And, there's lots to consider. So I always say I like, to bring in elements of that classical storytelling because that's what the zodiacs are. It's very, very old stories from the night sky. And it's fun and it's beautiful, but at the same time, it doesn't define anything. And we get to still choose who we are and who we choose to be. This is my concept because I'm a number one believer in free will and that we choose our destinies. This is just potential influences and things that we could choose to listen to. But I'm wondering if this person that we have in this storyline who wants to talk to Ophiuchus, I'm wondering if they use, or like I'll say misuse, too many signs, look for too many signs, and then use it as a way to manipulate, like, well, that's why I can't do it today because, the alignment's wrong. Or that's why I can't do it next month because, oh no, I should put this off. It's not the auspicious time to do this yet. And what it's doing is it's making them move really, really slow, which moving slow doesn't mean bad if it's really the right thing to do, but we still see them looking way into the distance and then saying, and that's when I'll feel really empowered and then I'll do it. And I just can't help but wonder, you notice how there's all the stars, celestial energy, like seen on their chariot. It's like this person is waiting until something else gives them the signal that they're now courageous enough to do this. But I keep thinking they're putting off finding their courage. This is just my interpretation. Doesn't mean I'm right for our character here, but it makes me question. Yeah, we have the devil, so we're going to stick with that interpretation. Any kind of energy we can manipulate to get the results that we want, and if we're deep down, we're scared and we're not admitting it. I'm scared to reach out to Ophiuchus. I've wanted to for so long, and I keep saying I'm going to, but then I don't. But I want to, but I don't. Maybe what they really need to identify is, why am I scared to reach out. Let's just ask that character, are you aware that there's the devil sitting there, or that there's a fear? 10 of Pentacles. It's like, well, it's scary because I really want to have success. And that, to me, that makes perfect sense. I'm not knocking this character. I think this is a very relatable character that everybody who's ever like wanted to ask somebody out might put it off for like months or longer, because it's like, I'm so nervous to ask them because I really want it to go well. I got to feel confident. I got to be wearing my lucky socks. It's got to be, I should look down at my watch and it should say, that it's 4:44. I need all these signs to align. I need to have all it go right, just right, so that then I can make this happen. And you notice how we have all this flying on these two cards as well. I feel like this character has reached, I said, do they know that there's a fear that they have to look at? And it's like they are still envisioning how it's all going to go perfect. But in order for it to all go perfect, almost like Superman style, or, like whatever, hero style, I have to come flying in. It has to be the perfect. You know how in movies, all of our heroes always have the perfect thing to say. It's always very suave, and they always come flying in at just the right moment, and it's all perfect. I'm wondering if this person they don't think of it as fear. They think of it as, look, it just has to be perfect. So then I can have this perfect 10 of Pentacles, and you'll want to ride in the car with me, and I'll ask you out at just the right moment, and I'll be a hero, and it'll be so perfect. And I'm just waiting for that day. So I don't think that they see this as a fear. I think they see it as, no, I'm just waiting for the perfect time, the perfect moment. The Fool. They're saying, I'm courageous enough to take the leap of faith. I'll do it as soon as the moment is perfect. So this is definitely somebody waiting for the right moment to step up. What is it that you want with Ophiuchus? Let's ask that. If they've got this much, thought process around, it's got to be perfect, got to be perfect. We have the World in the reverse. We have the Empress upright, and we have the Ace of Cups. This feels like somebody who wants to tell Ophiuchus, I still love you. That plain and simple. They want to give Ophiuchus their heart. They don't want something to be over. They want to tell Ophiuchus that they still love him. So wait, are you an ex? Is that who you are then? We have a Queen of Cups sideways. We have the Devil. I'm going to say that they probably are an ex. I'm going to say that they probably are somebody that Ophiuchus loved once, maybe still loves, but it's like, this person's so much struggle. We have so much trouble. There's, I love them, but man, it was a tainted kind of love, or it was a difficult kind of love. So yes, they are an ex. In this storyline, they come across as an ex. Page of Wands upright. They know Ophiuchus still has some feels for them, though. But I can also see why they keep saying it's got to be perfect, though. I mean, it's got to be perfect. But they keep sitting there in the Devil's energy, and that's one of the things that maybe was something that was a problem in the past. Maybe this person tends to wear a few too many masks. Maybe they tend to procrastinate, or maybe they tend to not really put themselves out there and say what they're really, feeling, and that could be a problem. Let's take another look. Actually, you know what? I think I want this deck instead. Let's just look at Ophiuchus for a second. We have the Hierophant, and it is in the reverse. Oh, and I'm sorry, also the Queen of Pentacles, which also, these two were like stuck together, and they're both in the reverse. This does not look like Ophiuchus desires to give to this anymore. This looks like Ophiuchus is like, this person's not very connected to their higher self. Maybe they even got me kind of disconnected from my higher self. Maybe I even, started to react in a way that's not typical for me. 10 of Cups sideways. I don't know. This is confusing, because it's like we could have had it all, but I just don't know that it's possible, because everything is upside down from what it should have been. And we have the Star. I kind of think that Ophiuchus says there was so much potential here, but we didn't get it to be that shiny, polished, wonderful thing. Everything that we could have had, everything that it could have been, it fell so far short of. I kind of think, I'm so sorry to be so rude about this, but I think Ophiuchus has said they have no connection to their higher self. There's a stinginess to them. There's a toxic energy to them, even though I also seek good in them. But that thing, they could have a real toxic attachment to things like money. They may be, and I say this because this Queen of Pentacles, and even if it were upright, there's still kind of like a, I don't know, she's like even hoarding that little piggy, it's like, and this card was in the reverse. So I'm going to say this is somebody who's not able to like really give. And I'm wondering if that is the problem here. Even if Ophiuchus is like, I know that they loved me, but they haven't figured out that when you actually are capable of loving, you're giving. Maybe this person just cannot seem to give. They can't let loose of a single penny. They can't let loose of a single like kind word, because everything is like, I have to hoard it. Remember, we already saw them as the devil twice. This is just tough because they do actually love Ophiuchus, but they may also have just this shadow side to them. And I think Ophiuchus is like, they're so stingy. Even if they love me, they're still so stingy. And I want them to heal. And I needed to get distance from them because, it kind of sucks that this is not what it should be. So maybe it's better that they keep moving the goalpost and keep delaying, because maybe they are just a knight in that first card. Maybe they need more time to grow as a person. Maybe there's a much better reason that they keep saying, even if they don't realize this, maybe there's a much better reason for them to keep delaying. Maybe they have a lot more growing up to do. Maybe this is all for the best, because this says Ophiuchus has wanted to get distance from them, even though, I don't know, let me just ask. Ophiuchus, are you going to want to hear from them someday? We have that 8 of Cups. And it almost looks like Ophiuchus is like, I'm actually moving, further and further away from this, that it feels like an old movie now. I don't know that Ophiuchus is going to want to hear from them on down the road. Certainly not if they're just the same version of who they've been. That we could definitely say. Ophiuchus is definitely like, I feel like I'm moving on from this all the time. We have High Priestess and we have the Hanged Man. This is interesting because Ophiuchus says, it doesn't even matter if I want to or not. Deep down, I already know they're going to stay in procrastination mode. Because again, maybe they have an inherent stinginess. Maybe I don't know. This almost feels like Ophiuchus says, I know this person is not actually going to give love. Deep down, I know I'm not actually going to hear from them. They have so much work to do on themselves. They have so many things that they'd have to see from a different lens. I don't see them getting through all that in this lifetime. This is going to be a lifelong journey for them. And no, I'm not waiting and holding my breath to talk to them, because I don't envision them. What I know of them is they don't seem to be able to even let loose with a compliment, or that whatever this is, they've got so much work to do on themselves. Ophiuchus, does Ophiuchus realize that this person does love them? The empath. Oh God, yeah. And Ophiuchus also understands so much about why this person is the way they are. I think Ophiuchus is like, it is like an unconditional, compassionate love that they hold in their heart for this person. I think meeting this individual made Ophiuchus very wise, very understanding. Like they're dealing with what tools they've got in their toolbox. And I actually do know that they love me at a level that they can. But are they able to be generous? Are they able to be somebody that's giving? Maybe not in the energy that they're currently sitting in. And Ophiuchus just does not see this person growing beyond that. And it's not to be rude. It's not because somebody couldn't. It's just that Ophiuchus is like, look, I haven't seen that side of them, the growth side of them. Let me just go back over here and just say, character, you keep moving the goalpost. You aren't actually reaching out yet. Is that going to happen someday? 8 of Swords and the 2 of Swords. Let's just put it this way. The way their thoughts are right now, no. They're going to keep saying, someday I'm going to reach out, someday. And yet, when it comes to actually doing it, they don't. That's where their thoughts are. But thoughts change as we grow and learn things. But right now, No, not even if they say they're going to reach out and, by Libra season or somewhere in Virgo season or somewhere by next Cancer season. In truth, this says the way their thought pattern is right now, no, they're just going to keep moving a goalpost. And you know what? Maybe it's because they still haven't dealt with the fears. They haven't dealt with the devil energy. They haven't dealt with that. And they know they can't come back in until they're going to be more generous, until they're able to be different. And if they're still not there yet, it makes very good reason why they could love Ophiuchus and still not be coming forward. King of Wands. Look, someday, when their heart is operating instead of the fear or the shadow side, that's the day that Ophiuchus will hear from this person. It just might not be in time for them to have a future with Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus anticipates moving on and meeting somebody else before they ever hear from this individual. Although Ophiuchus says, I won't hear from them at all. Because of that King of Wands card, this actually says Ophiuchus could be very shocked that someday they will. I just don't know if it'll be in time for any kind of a relationship, even though this person tells themselves a whopper of a line about, oh, I have the courage. I could totally move forward any day. It's just that everything has to be aligned just right. They do seem to keep dodging the fact that they have to find their real courage, and they have to maybe do some real work on themselves. It does look like they've got to get more honest with themselves, but someday they will. This person they're growing, they're on a journey, but it doesn't look like Ophiuchus is holding their breath for this person. It looks like Ophiuchus is off on a new adventure. And I think maybe that's terrific for Ophiuchus, especially with that star card. They're going to be making other hopes, wishes, dreams, and goals come true for themselves. All right, I'm going to leave this here. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing.